What's up, guys? All right, injuries for practice today. Ricky Purcell, knee, will not practice. D. Winters, knee, limited. Brendel, hamstring, limited. Tatum, thigh, limited. Bryce Huff, hamstring, limited. Brock Purdy, toe, limited. Go ahead.
Is there a setback with Purcell, or what's the status right now?
Just the same as what I said last week. No setback, just taking longer to heal than we thought.
As far as Brandon Ayuk, are you confident that he's going to play this year, or is there a possibility that he doesn't ever get that window open and doesn't play?
I would think. I'm pretty confident that he's going to eventually. At least open up his practice window. We talk about it being week to week right now, so still wait until he's ready.
Is it a matter of him hitting these marks? The GPS stuff, the speed stuff, those types of things, very technical things at this point.
Yes.
You had mentioned mid-March. Would your plan be when he's healthy to just slot him right back in as a starter?
We'll see how the week goes. It depends how he looks. Thought Spence did a real good job last week, so but he's not limited today. He's full go, so gives him a better chance, but we'll see how the week plays out.
What kind of setback did Yetur have, and is there a chance he'll be back this year, or is it bad enough that?
No, he pulled his hamstring, but yeah, he'll be back.
What do you think of Jordan Watkins, obviously kind of making his way back on the field the last 2 games? What do you think about what you've seen from him, and then how does it kind of help out with the, I should say, injuries with the wide receiver?
Well, he's gotten up and got his opportunity because of the injuries, so that's why he's been up the last 2 weeks, and I thought he had a big play last week on the 2nd and 12 that we went to him on, and just getting better each week and waiting for more opportunities.
Do you see yourself giving Brock more first-team reps this week?
Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, we plan on pushing it each week.
One rookie we haven't seen yet is Jordan James. How's he doing in practice? And was the plan to sort of redshirt him this year if the veterans ahead of him stay healthy, or could he work his way onto the field?
No, I think he could work his way onto the field. I think it's tough. The plan wasn't to originally, but hurt his knee, I think, his first practice, came back 2 weeks later, broke his pinky, then missed all that. And so he missed an entire training camp, came back, I think, in week 2. Once he did, we had already traded for Brian. We have Isaac with our special teams role and the pass game. And I think he's been getting more reps in practice, doing a good job, and hopefully we'll be able to get him up sometime this year.
You were fairly candid before the trade deadline the week before about what you guys were looking for in your approach. But I think a lot of fans, when you don't make any other move besides Keon White, view that as some sort of a white flag on the season or whatever. I guess, how would you respond to the fact that you didn't make a significant move, and how it reflects on how you view this year's team?
Yeah, I don't think it has to do with how we view this year's team. I think we worked just as hard this year to make a trade that made sense for our team this year and next year, just as hard as we do every year. There's a lot of teams with records like 6-3 or better that didn't make any big trade. They're not just because you make a big trade doesn't mean it's always a smart move. There's a lot of risk that goes into it, not just for this year, but throughout your whole future. I was excited we were able to make it one that we felt real good about last week and getting Keon. I know we looked into a ton of them, but the asking price was too much on all the ones.
When you had Elijah Mitchell here, you finished games with him. What do you want to see from these other backs, or what would you want to see from a back that you want to finish a game with? Because you're finishing with Christian now. I guess.
That they run the ball the same way. I thought Brian stepped in and did a good job. We never said Elijah was our finisher by any means. It's just how it played out sometimes. Sometimes you go in and a guy runs 2 good runs and you stick with them for a little bit. But yeah, no, we never had any role for any back where it's like, all right, this guy goes and finishes it, this guy starts it. It's really just the momentum of how guys are doing, and I think Brian has really stepped it up these last couple of weeks. He's got a couple more opportunities, made some big plays on special teams, and hopefully we can get him in there more.
Kyle, between Mac's play on the field and his leadership, has he been better than advertised?
I guess maybe a little better than advertised, but that's just based off how good advertisements are. Mac's he's just done so much in college and done a lot in this league, so we had a good feeling that he could be like this, and he's been like this since OTAs, so hasn't been much of a surprise for everyone in the building.
Everybody notices the kicker, and then you hired a new coordinator. What do What do you think else has gone into the overall improvement of special teams, particularly in the last month or so?
I mean, I think making kicks and not getting a pump blocked is usually the biggest things that stick out the most, or giving up a big return. I mean, those are, you can play really good special teams, and any one of those three things happens on just one play, then it's catastrophic special teams. So I think we've been able to avoid some of the bigger plays that we missed last year. Obviously, the kicker being on it like he has been has really helped. And then I think a number of the guys we brought in, I think all three specialists have done a real good job, and they've all gotten better throughout the year too. I think guys like Gibson, guys like Neal, Gifford, guys like Neal, bringing those guys in have helped a bunch, and I think guys are just proven.
Getting some guys back healthy is kind of giving you the situation where rookies don't have to play as much. Can that be good at this part of the season, that they got those reps under the belt, but maybe to take a step back so that they can avoid the rookie wall or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think lots of guys get opportunities because of injury, and I think opportunities always help people. Whether you did good with it or bad with it, you can learn from it. And sometimes when you don't have to do it for an entire year or something like that, sometimes you get in there and you can manage it for a little bit, but you're not quite ready for it, so eventually you break down. And so when you can get in and get out, I do think it helps guys.
Kyle, I've been wanting to ask you about Jake Tonjes, a local guy. I went to Cal, and what have you seen from him this season that sort of allowed this breakout as far as his performance?
Really just stepping it up in game moments and just showing his teammates and everyone that the game's not too big for him. Starting back to the Seattle game, we had such a big game plan for Kittle that game, and we weren't at all anticipating losing him as early as we did, and we had to change a bunch of stuff, and eventually you just got to say screw it and live with the results. And every time we went to him, he made a bunch of plays, and we made a game-winning play. And then he's done it every week since, and not just in the pass game, but also in the run game, playing through some injuries. So we always knew he had some ability, but I feel like he just really matured in the moment, and has been getting it done on Sundays.
Sean McVay drew plays for you early in his career. What do you remember about his time in that role?
About what?
When Sean drew plays for you?
Yeah, Sean was awesome. I remember my dad and I interviewing him, and he killed it in it. My dad was more impressed with it. I thought he was doing a John Gruden impersonation the whole time. But I'm just joking. I was impressed too. But I had the same job that Sean had for Gruden. So what I did for John for 2 years, I think after me was Nate Hackett, and then after Nate, I think was Sean. So we both had the same background, so it was cool to watch and interview him and know where he was coming from. And then he was unbelievable with the stuff. I think always, the picture draw always has the most access to the coordinator, the guy you spend the most time with and stuff. But he didn't last long there. I remember our tight end coach, John Embry, got the head coach job at Colorado, and I think it was like by week 14 that I lost my picture drawer, and we made him the tight end coach.
What about doing that job specifically helps a young coach?
I think it's one, the access to the coordinator, but two, once you become a position coach, that's what your job is. That's what you have to do 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You lock into that position and making sure that position's right. When you're a picture drawer and you're dealing with the coordinator a lot, you got to do a little bit of everything. So you just kind of gives you a very good foundation on how you're going to coach the rest of your career. I go back to my times before I was a position coach or coordinator, and that's when I really learned defense. That's when I really learned other positions, really learned O-line play, really learned the fronts on defense and stuff like that. And once you become a position coach, you like to do that stuff, but that's not really what's important at that time. What's important is making sure your position gets the job done, and I think there's a lot more room to grow when you're not that.
Given all the injuries to key players, is it fair to say that this team has overachieved through the first half of the season?
I wouldn't say overachieved because we believed we could do this. I think always when you have injuries, it's much more of a challenge, definitely. But I think some of the key positions we have had at key injuries we've had some good guys step up. I'm thinking all these positions, it's just a total backup. I think we've had some guys come in and play like starters. And I also know other teams in the league have some of these issues too. So we're 6-3, and we got a chance here. We're in the hunt, but we'll see how we finish the rest of this half out.
Coach, how well Mac has played? Does there come a point this season where you get concerned about messing with offensive chemistry if you make a switch or go back or go to Brock?
No, I don't really get concerned too much with offensive chemistry. It's more, Mac's showing he can play at a high level. Everyone knows that Brock can play at a high level. When Brock is healthy and he's himself, we know he'll play at a high level. So as long as you have a quarterback playing at a high level, don't worry too much about the chemistry.
What have you seen from Upton Stout? And I know the secondary has kind of been moving around a little bit. What have
you seen from their progress?
I mean, I love the way Upton Stout plays. I think he's a rookie out there who plays the right way, who's going to be a really good starter in this league for a while. As always, you got to go through some ups and downs when you just throw guys in the fire like we have with him. But he never shies away. He always plays physical, plays, to me, with probably the least hesitation on our defense, just with how hard he reacts, how hard he runs to the ball, and truly believe he's made of the right stuff. And I think this year is really good for him, and he's going to be a good player for us.
The last game you guys ran the ball.
McCaffrey and Robinson, and they're going to get most of the carries. But Garindo did show flashes last year. Where does he need to improve to at least give him a chance to get on the field on the
He needs to be better than two backs in front of him. I mean, that's how it was in the past. He got his opportunities when JP got hurt, got his opportunities to start when both of those guys got hurt, and he did very well with it. And that's he's just the third guy right now, and you don't hand the ball off to two guys. You hand it off to one, and usually there's a two-man rotation. Sometimes you can have a third, but with Christian being elite as he is in the pass game and protections and stuff, it's kind of hard to get a three-man rotation there.
First matchup, you ran the ball a lot, like 30-plus times, and didn't get a lot for it, but you stayed with it. Now, since then, what have you seen from their defense on film? Why are they so tough against the run?
I mean, I think their front five, the guys they keep on the line of scrimmage usually, is probably the best in the NFL. I think, they don't have to make the secondary very vulnerable and doing a lot, so they can always have usually 6 or 7 guys swarming to the ball. Extremely hard to give up a big play on. I don't think they've given up a 3rd and 12 plus this year, which is kind of unheard of by week 9. I think they're number 1 in the NFL and second 11 plus. So when you have as good of a pass rush as there is in the league, and that same pass rush group can stop the run, it leads to a very good defense, and that's what they are this week.
Was there anything specific that you learned from this past game that you can take into the next week against the LA Rams here?
Yeah, there's always stuff you can take from each week, good and bad, and but you play different teams every week, and so sometimes the coaching points can be a little different.
You're facing the Rams. There's always a big rivalry with this franchise. You were introduced to it. You had a big game, 3 touchdowns, I believe, down in LA. What did that kind of teach you about the rivalry and division between you guys?
Yeah, it's a big. Any division game is a big deal, and so this one's obviously big, like they all are. So the intensity and the urgency have to be there all week in the preparation, so we can come out and execute at a high level on Sunday.
Christian, from a fan perspective, many are asking, why did they make a deal during the trade deadline, get some defensive help? From a player's perspective, how do you guys look at the fact that the team didn't make a move?
I personally don't look at that stuff. Those guys, they're hired for a reason. They have a job and they're obviously really good at it. And for me, I just don't focus on that stuff. It's the guys that you go out there and play with are the guys that you feel confident playing with. And I think everybody in this team can play. And I'm fired up about our team and where we're at, and we just got to keep rolling. Obviously losing guys is tough. And it's never easy, but you see the kind of depth that you have and guys who have stepped up and come out here and done a really good job. And once again, I haven't thought of it until you just asked that question, but it shows me that they have confidence in the guys that we have.
Christian, are you able to speak to the resilience of the team, being that you guys have lost so many, stars on the team? Have any new voices emerged in the locker room? I know last year when it got tough, that's when Deommodore Lenoir kind of found his voice in the locker room. Have you seen that so far this season as far as leadership and resilience?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a special team where you have a lot of guys who kind of understand what the standard is, and whether you're a vocal guy or not, we've seen guys step up on the field. A guy like Upton Stout has stepped up since OTAs. He hasn't said a lot, but you watch him play, and his play speaks for itself. But watching how Tatum has kind of controlled the linebacker room since Fred's been out has been awesome. Just seeing young guys step up has been cool to see. But the standard will always be the standard, no matter who's stepped up or not.
George was talking about with youth and injuries on defense. It's offense's responsibility to score at least 30 points a game. I don't know. Do you agree with that? And do you feel like there's a need to assume more of the burden?
Well, why not 40? We should go to 50 a game. Yeah, no, it's. I think football is funny because I think, and I don't mean to downplay your question, but sometimes when guys get hurt, people act like there's like a new level of urgency that has to come. And I really don't know. There's always a high level of urgency in this game, whether or not you got all your dogs or not. It's a violent game, and you have to come every Sunday with a certain mindset. And that's the way I approach it, But I think, to George's point, you don't have, once again, I say this acting like you might have room for error, but you really never have room for error. Every football game in the NFL is tough. That's why it's, the NFL, everyone's good, and, you can win every game or you can lose every game. And so it's really just about keeping the standard high and doing your job each and every day so that Sunday you feel confident enough to go out there and play your best football. But obviously, scoring 30 is awesome. I'd love to do it every week.
Christian, what's your mindset on the end of games when simplification games carries and everybody knows you're going to win? Just thinking 2 hands on the ball and put it over. Do you take those finishing carries?
Yeah, definitely. I think, mindset is whatever the run play is called, to keep your eyes on the read. Make sure you're executing whatever the play is called, and always just trying to break tackles, finish forward. That's from the start of the game to the end of the game. That's the mindset.
Christian, you guys have been on the road a lot this first half of the season. From a rest perspective, how nice is it to have a few weeks to be home?
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, I think that's another thing. We've had 3 home games in 9 weeks, so being able to have one at home is awesome.
Everybody's obviously tough, but how much have you been impressed by Mac's toughness? We see it every week. He's bloody, he's gimping around. What have you thought of?
Man, he's been awesome. Yeah, he's been unbelievably tough, poised in the huddle. A great leader, great guy to have as your quarterback, and just a lot of fun to play with him.
Some of your offensive linemen said that sometimes when he goes down, it's almost a little scary because you're not sure where he's going to bounce, and then he bounces back up.
Yeah. I think when we first started playing with him and he was down a couple times, you obviously get really worried. But now when he goes down, you almost, knock on wood, but I just always feel like Mac's going to get back up and find a way to go out there and play.
What allows you to sustain this kind of workload? This stage of your career, obviously, running backs, the shelf life is relatively short. What have you done to kind of put yourself in a position?
Look, I feel blessed. I think, I work really hard. I got a great team around me, but, at the end of the day, I feel anytime I get to step on the field, I don't take it for granted, and thank God every chance I get.
Have you talked to Michael Williams since his injury, and if so, what was that conversation like?
Yeah, I talked to him. I just told him that I was praying for him and to keep his head up and to let me know if he needed anything during his recovery process.
Did he say he needed anything or no?
Nah, he's going to do his best he can. I know he has surgery coming up here soon, so I'm going to just keep in touch with him, make sure he's straight.
How does it feel to get back out there, if you're able to get back out there this week? And then what have the last 2 weeks been like, being that you've been trying to make your way back out to being healthy?
I mean, they've been smooth. I just had like a grade 1, so it wasn't nothing crazy. So I've just been in here every day working with the training staff and the weight room staff to get back to full health, and I feel good. So I'm going to be out there at practice today. So.
Do you anticipate to play on Sunday?
Yes, sir.
You faced Matthew Stafford in your career before, and what's the challenge that awaits?
I mean, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, so I know he's going to be looking to dice us up any way he can. So for me, I just got to do everything I can to impact him and get to him in the pocket.
I mean, you guys came up with a lot of big defensive plays against him last game in LA. Does that give you confidence carrying into this one?
I mean, every week in the NFL, like, you got to come out on your P's and Q's. So I'll flush that like it's onto a whole new team, because throughout the year, the teams develop and they progress in their own way. So we got to get in the film room to see what we're going to do this week to attack them.
From a player's perspective, you guys have lost a few guys this season, but then you yourself have to come back and be a little bit healthier. What has Kim White and Cleveland Farrell brought to the defensive line from your perspective, maybe vocal leadership with this play? What have you seen?
I mean, I know Cleveland was here in the past, and he did a good job here, and I know he's well respected in the building with this process and how he goes about his business. And then Keon, he's a dog on the field. I'm still getting to know him off the field, but on the field, he's a playmaker. So I'm looking forward to getting out there and making plays with those guys and rushing and see what we can do.
What's the level of confidence like on the defensive unit? No big trades during the thing. I think fans were like, "What's going on?" Just from your perspective, what's the level of confidence moving forward for you guys?
We're extremely confident. We come in here and work hard every day to put the best film out there on Sunday and put the best product out there on Sunday for the fans and do everything we can to win. So nothing's changing on our end. We're coming in and executing and preparing how we know how, and we're just gonna come out and execute on Sunday.
realize that everybody's tough, but what's impressive with Mac Jones' toughness specifically?
I mean, he's extremely tough. I know he's fought through a couple injuries this year, and then he's just been fighting. Like every opportunity he gets out there on the field, he's putting his best foot forward. So it's good to see.
Yeah, they're a really good team, and it showed in that last game, and they've improved. You could see it in the tape. They're just more sound in what they're doing. And the game came down to the wire, like a lot of games do. So I expect it to be a dogfight, and just respecting them, not taking them lightly. I mean, we didn't before, but just because we beat them once, you don't like look over them. So that's what the division is. You're going to see them again. So it's just going out there with the right mindset, having a good week of practice, so we give ourselves the best chance to win.
You guys have been on the road a lot. Early in the season, what does it mean to just be able to play back home?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Our fans travel well. It was crazy, them over there, so shout out to them. But just to be home in our environment, on our grass and things like that, it's going to be fun. So it's going to help us.
Just out of curiosity, I know you guys go in with the game plan and the strategy before you specifically going up against a pretty talented defense. What are the things you kind of hone in on or kind of focus on this week to make sure you kind of maximize your productivity yourself?
Yeah. Kyle and Clay and those guys, they do a good job of getting us prepared. So today we went through things that we want to attack, and it's just about executing them when we get the opportunity. So watching film, watching what they do, watching where there's space in the zones and things like that. So trying to attack things, see what we can find, and got to execute at the end of the day. Because if we can draw it all up, but if we go out there and we don't hit them, it don't really matter. So just being sharp, being on top of our P's and Q's in practice this week, and giving ourselves a chance.
I know next man up is the saying, especially with injuries, but how taxing has it been to watch a couple of leaders go down?
It's the game of football. The next man up is mentality. We're doing everything we can to beat the Rams.
You guys are back at home after being on the road 2 weeks in a row. One tough one, one really good one. How exciting is it to kind of be back out here, and then especially against a team like the LA Rams?
It's very exciting to play at home. To play a good group of guys. Hopefully we just come out on top and get the dub.
I don't know how much you pay attention to it, but was it shocking to see Sauce Gardner traded yesterday?
It's above my pay grade.
Have you talked to Michael?
Michael? I talked to him yesterday. I seen him in the training room. Yeah.
What was that conversation like? How's he doing?
Just making sure he was straight, his mental was good, and make sure just wishing him a speedy recovery.
And he seems like he's in good spirits.
Yeah, he's in good spirits. Obviously, it's probably weighing down on him, but he comes in the building, he has the same attitude every time, and he's been doing it since he got hurt. So, yeah, I'm just making sure he's good.
Earlier today, I asked Christian about emerging leaders in the locker room, of course, especially since so many injuries have taken out some of the main guys. He mentioned you as one of those guys and being able to lead the defense is in the position that you are. What have you kind of been able to figure out about yourself in these last few weeks, if anything?
I'll just say just coming in the building and just putting in work, leading by example, not just going out there and telling people what to do. They see I'm putting in the work and giving it my all, they're going to do the same and just move on from that.
You had 16 tackles last game, which is a normally high number. It's most in a decade with this team. Did it seem like you were racking up that many, and is that a good or a bad thing?
I never really noticed it. In college, I always racked up a couple tackles, but tackles are non-negotiable. I feel like I need to do better in the pass game and just getting the ball out and creating turnovers for the defense.
Tatum, you have a college card of yourself up here. Is there a story behind that?
Nah, there's no story. After the games, Florida State fans usually come around. We show them some love. They show us love. The little kid just handed it to me, so I kept it.
Okay, after the Giants game?
Nah, it was Florida State.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Tatum, you guys have been on the road a lot this season to start. How nice will it be to be at home for the next
It feels great. That was the first thing we was talking about after the game. We get to stay home, even though we got to leave next week. But we trying to enjoy this moment and get a dub for our fans at the crib.
When you guys were here yesterday on a day off, it was trade deadline day, so were all your Raiders up also wondering if they were going to make a move, and when they didn't, what do you think?
No, I didn't even know the trade deadline was yesterday. I've been hearing about it, but man, whatever happens, happens. I'm good with the guys that's on this team right now. We're going to rock whoever's on that field.
Tatum, from the week you took over when Fred got injured to now, how do you feel health-wise?
You know, it's still coming along. You know, I'm just trying to be able to be there for the players, how they were for me coming in. You know, this is something new, so that comfortable level is still rising up. As you can see, my players getting better. I just got to keep working, and it comes with preparation and just being ready for the game.
How are you talking to Fred maybe after games, before games?
I usually text Fred after the games to see his thoughts on everything, but most of the time I talk to him is whenever he come in the building for his therapy. But after that, I just let him focus on himself and get better.
Kind of like how you look up to, well, not necessarily look up, but look for Fred's advice about your play.
Mm-hmm.
Is it any other younger guys in the locker room kind of coming to you about what they can do better to kind of make sure that they can get that next man up notch too?
I wouldn't say they come to me to find out what they could do better, but we all come together to find out what we can do together do better as a defense in general. Like after the game, we get on the plane and we all standing up on the plane watching film, trying to correct stuff that we could have did in the game. So yeah, it's not them coming to me to get better, it's we coming together to get better.
Are Fred Warner's texts very wordy, or are they very emoji oriented?
Both.
What's his favorite emoji?
The fire emoji.
Yeah. Top ones.
Yeah, the fire emoji. He sent that a lot.
Talk to you about positive plays and then also ones that could have been different.
Yeah, Fred keeps it a buck with everything, man. If you play bad, you play bad. If you play legendary, he's gonna tell you. He's gonna put it in all caps with fire emojis. I got that last week, so it kind of felt good. But yeah, other than that, man, he's gonna keep it real with you all the time, and that's what I respect most about Fred. He don't sugarcoat anything.